Regan Slaymaker for International Boxing News. Now the pleasure to meet Alex Guével, Head of Community Development for Matchroom Boxing. Alex, how are you? It's Denny Cash Fight Week.
Yeah, really excited, mate. I think it's a brilliant main event, brilliant undercard as well. So great to be back in Birmingham, real boxing city, and great to be here and adding what I can to the event with from a community perspective.
Definitely, we'll touch on that. I mean, a bit of a kind of a niche program at Matchroom that you're in charge of the community development side of things, obviously. But you kicked things off with Hamza Uddin, I think, back end of last week going into this fight week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've known Hamza quite a while actually from the amateurs. I remember watching him come through, in the England squads at GB, winning various national titles. So when Hamza was signed by Matchroom, it was I knew his backstory. I knew that he had this dream of becoming the first British Bangladeshi world champion. The British Bangladeshi community are typically quite a sort of sedentary. Within their culture, it's a kind of sedentary lifestyle. There's a lot of kind of issues around physical health and maybe not being the most active. So Hamza kind of bucks the trend in being a professional athlete, and I know that he's very keen to utilise his position as a professional athlete to encourage the next generation to do more and be more physically active and aspire for maybe careers that they haven't already done so. Went out to the gym last week with Hamza and actually ended up going to the mosque with him as well to get a real understanding of like his culture, his background, the community that's backing him. Went down to a few different sponsors that he works with as well and just got a real feel of Hamza Uddin in the community.
Definitely, kind of. I mean, that's a massive thing, right? Obviously, I spoke to Hamza about representing the Bengali community, and then you've got Katie Taylor doing it for women. You've got Hamza Shiraz doing it for the British Pakistani community as well. Kind of, how important is that? Are these role models for that communities that boxing might not be the job route that a lot of these people want to go down, but how important is it for giving that role model for people to look up to?
Hugely so, because until they see someone that's done it, then it doesn't become a realistic opportunity for people. We see now, particularly in the travelling community, there's so many people from the travelling community in amateur boxing at the kind of younger ages, but up until recently with your likes of Tyson Fury, your Billy Joe Saunders, your Felix Cash on this show, who are going into the pros and turning it into a career. It takes someone to kind of buck the trend and do something different and be a trailblazer, and I guess Hamza is exactly that for the Bengali community in the UK.
No, he definitely is as well. Obviously, we were talking obviously, this is a very occurring thing. Matchroom in the community is a weekly thing, every single fight week. I mean, talk to me kind of your role in this and Matchroom's wider role every single fight week, reaching out to the community and getting people together as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, fight weeks is the kind of nuts and bolts of the role. We have these events all over the world, and it's about connecting the event, our fighters, our staff, with the local community. But there's so much more than that. It's not just about fight weeks. We're doing so many different initiatives that are going to, really sort of connect Matchroom throughout the year, with local communities, with the amateurs, with grassroots, and really make a difference. Utilising our platform as the world's leading boxing promoter to amplify positive messages, positive causes, great projects that are taking place in the community, and ultimately we want to really begin to see greater investment from policy and decision makers. Greater investment into the sport of grassroots to benefit the sport as a whole.
Definitely, I think there was a lot of news about the British government. I don't know whether they cut the funding to boxing or there was none. I mean, very much Matchroom leading by example when there is no example from the higher governments who are supposed to be giving the money to kind of increase sport on the whole.
Yeah, we're in a unique position, with people like Eddie, with some of our fighters. We can open doors that potentially other people can't. We can access conversations that potentially other people can't, and we can put a message across in a different way. I kind of always say it's a little bit about the way I would describe it is it's going to the body and the head. So what we'll do is we'll kind of go to the heart with people with that. We can produce content and do programs where it's really kind of like pull at the heartstrings. We can sort of speak about these amazing narratives, boxing saves lives, all the kind of things you hear, and you can grab people with those kind of really emotive pieces that we can produce. But equally, you've got to go to the head as well in terms of capturing data, insight, and evidence that's going to back that up, qualitative and quantitative. So we're working with academic institutions to do so that when we do present a case to the government, it's not just that kind of emotive piece that's going to tug at the heartstrings and these great stories we all know about, these anecdotal pieces. It's about combining that with actual academic research so that we can unlock real change in the sport.
No, definitely as well. Obviously, you guys are when you're doing these community pieces, you're not just seeing the benefits of boxing, like we see those success stories when they win the world titles and they get all the money and they get all the success, but the success stories kind of bringing those kids in off the street or bringing those young adults in off from backgrounds where they don't want to be into a boxing gym, and they get more to it through boxing as well. Very much the kind of the qualitative and quantitative research that you're talking about.
Definitely, the benefits of boxing are so vast. It's not just about becoming a boxer. We're looking at a program, for example, called Shadow Box, which we're going to be rolling out over the course of the next sort of couple of months. We've done little bits and pieces already around some of our fight weeks, where we're working with Street Games. We're a big, huge national charity that work with young people from marginalised backgrounds. So offering these young people opportunities around work experience. So a lot of young people think boxing, they think, I need to get in the ring, I need to be a fighter. Well, no, like you can be a videographer, you can be a commentator, you could work in socials, you could do something like I do, you could be the next Eddie Hearn. There's all these kind of different roles. You could work like Bella on the tickets, and Alex and the girls that sort the travel and the finances. There's so many different roles within boxing and within the industry that maybe young people don't know about. So we're trying to sort of come up with really kind of like innovative schemes that offer these opportunities to young people, and hopefully bring the next generation into the sport, whether that's as fighters or just within the industry as a whole.
Definitely. Do you think kind of with boxing there's no kind of barriers to entry? Obviously I'm here, I don't have kind of, I just feel like I'm spreading this, it sounds bad, but I don't have a journalist background, but I'm here interviewing you. I've just done an interview with Eddie. Do you feel like boxing is the perfect sport with that kind of little barrier to entry where it can open the doors for a lot of people to be very, very successful?
I think so. I think I've said this to a few people. Like I guess if you were working in like professional football, the chances of you, Eddie'd be the equivalent of like, I don't know, one of the top managers, say, in the Premier League. The chances of you being able to interview them in football would be very different, just because of the accessibility that boxing offers. So I think as a sport we are actually uniquely placed to offer young people really kind of exciting opportunities and probably a kind of fast track route to be able to make something of yourself within the industry. So that's exactly what we want to do.
Definitely. You mentioned kind of the things that Matchroom are doing in terms of the work experience, but you mentioned to me that also doing anything to benefit the local gyms around the Essex area, which I'm very happy about, because it means that it won't take me too long to go to these gyms to do some media days. But talk to me about that and the upcoming projects that Matchroom have.
We've got, there's so many different bits and pieces going on, particularly in terms of Essex and sort of supporting the local community that are kind of close to us down at HQ in Brentwood. At the moment we've got a big project taking place renovating our gym at HQ. So thanks to our partners at Everlast, we're going to have loads of new kit and equipment, and us as staff are hopefully going to get on the Eddie Hearn sort of fitness kick and get a bit fitter. So yeah, we're doing all of that, and we felt that it would be really nice for the existing equipment at HQ, as well as other bits from some of our brand partners at Everlast and Drip and these guys, to get involved and provide like a bit of a care package. Rehome some of this equipment, but also a little bit of a care package to local gyms. So we've specifically chosen gyms that have a little bit of a link with Matchroom in a way. Whether it's sort of geographically they're close, or maybe there's an existing family link or something with people at Matchroom. Something that's in some ways close to Barry as well, because I know that Barry was very keen to kind of do this as a nice sort of message. So we're going to be doing some stuff there, and it'd be great, as we spoke about off camera the other day. It'd be great to kind of do something around that.
Definitely as well, and I feel like touching on kind of the lack of government funding as well. I think we saw the Lynn ABC kind of how important that funding is, because sometimes these boxing clubs, despite the massive amount of good they do, sometimes they're not getting the funding, and Matchroom are kind of, like you said, giving a care package in more ways than one, keeping them open in many cases.
Definitely, and as I say, it's all about utilising our platform to try and unlock change at the highest level. I presented not long ago, a few months ago, at the APPG for boxing, so which is essentially a group of all the different MPs from different political parties. Probably one of the easiest presentations I've ever given, surprisingly, because you're preaching to the converted. It's a room full of people that love boxing and know the benefits of boxing. So talking to them about that and trying to kind of use our position to as I say, unlock change and really kind of spread the benefits of the sport and make more people aware of, like, this sport is genuinely changing lives. We can kind of amplify that message, but we're doing all that we can to be able to ensure that the grassroots is supported, because ultimately if the grassroots isn't thriving, the sport isn't thriving.
Definitely. Do you think boxing's in a kind of difficult position? I was talking to Andy Clark about this. Kind of, obviously boxing, it's a sport where the main aim is to render your opponent unconscious, whether we like it or not. That's a thing, and it's a very important thing. You're not cheering for the person being made unconscious, you're cheering the technical ability around things. Do you think getting that message across, it'll be it's more easy to convert the people who aren't converted, who are fans of boxing, like you said as well.
It's changing perceptions. There's so many. I always use the example of boxing in prisons. There's two ways of thinking with that. Some people think, why on earth would you teach these people that are already in prison for committing a criminal offence? Why would you teach them to be more dangerous or whatever? The way I see it is it's very rehabilitative. People would be putting their efforts into something more positive, channeling any extra energy they've got into something positive, and it's going to benefit them in terms of physical health, mental health, communication, making friends, potentially even employability skills once they were to leave prison, that kind of thing. There's so many different ways. Boxing in schools, there's all these different settings. Boxing isn't all about, yes, at the competitive level it's about rendering your opponent unconscious, but in communities it's about going into the gym, and everyone goes to the gym for a different reason. In that gym everyone's the same, and everyone's got different kind of reasons for being there. It might be self-defence, it might be fitness, it might be to become a fighter, but everyone's there to benefit in some way.
Definitely, boxing is one thing that installs discipline mainly, not in terms of kind of your respect for other people, but also regimented training. If you don't turn up for one session, you'll feel it in the next one. It's a fact. And also that whole boxing is violent, quote unquote, rubbish argument is nonsense, right? Because you're cheering for the technical ability, not the rendering the opponent unconscious as well. I do want to move on to kind of your career widely, Alex. You started at England Boxing, obviously. I'm sure there's a lot of the prospects who they might be new to us, the fans, but you've known them a long time. Obviously, where you do, it's quite easy to get them on the ride, and they know the benefits of the community outreach as well.
Definitely. There's all sorts of names. I mentioned Hamza. I've known Hamza years through the amateurs. Giorgio Vizioli be another one. I remember interviewing Giorgio when I was at England when he'd won his 2 ABA titles at 2 different weights. So I've known Giorgio a while, and it's great. Particularly with him, he started. He got signed by Matchroom very shortly after I started at Matchroom. So it almost feels like you're on a sort of similar journey, that kind of thing. So it's nice to see these lads. Hamza and Giorgio as 2 examples. They've kicked off their careers really, really well. 4 fights between them, 4 stoppages. So it's been great, and it's great to follow their journeys. But equally, I was at Haringey at the weekend, and you're watching the next generation of talent. There's so much coming through, and it's nice to kind of Jamie Ward was there for covering the event for DAZN, and obviously working as one of my colleagues and stuff. It was great to see Jamie for his first time at Haringey. That kind of like, his eyes were like wide, and he was kind of like looking everywhere, and it's like, oh my god, there's so much to see, there's so much talent, this is such a cool event, and it's really good to kind of see the DAZN, and we're going to do more around Haringey next year as well, I know, from a Matchroom perspective. Just looking to see like what we can do, but to see that kind of enthusiasm in someone that I work so closely with, at work day in day out, it's fantastic.
Definitely. I remember going to the Haringey Box Cup last year. I mean, I'm gutted I missed it this year, but please promote these shows as much as possible, because I need to know when they are. But kind of you see what boxing's all about, that raw emotion from fighters. I think I remember seeing like one fighter, like it was pretty obvious that he got a little bit robbed in a decision, which is amateur boxing, everyone knows, but that's where you see the passion. It's not, we'll go. No, you got these kids crying about this thing. It's where the real passion of boxing is.
100%. And do you know one of the best things this year? So we saw a few of the guys competing were guys that we've met on the road at some of our in the community fight week events. So a special shout out has to go to Billy Macey from Dagenham Boxing Club, who we met in my first ever Matchroom community event at Limehouse Boxing Academy. Billy Macey ended up winning Haringey this year. His mum passed away only about 3-4 months ago, so he's overcome all sorts in terms of his personal life, and we've been very, very much supported, like myself, Eddie. We've all reached out to him and kind of supported him through this time. As it's not just a case of we visit and fight week. We look after these people. We want to look after the clubs. We're looking at kind of sustainability, long-term sustainability packages to provide clubs with support moving forward. But on Billy, he showed such resolve in the ring. He actually boxed his best mate in the semi-final, which is a clip that's kind of going a little bit viral online at the moment, where they just stood toe-to-toe for 3 rounds, and it was incredible. And it's to see 2 best mates going at it when they've both got kind of all these kind of. I'm sure Riley, his opponent in the semi-final, was got a unique story himself. It's these narratives you don't know about that kind of just create make that event into something really quite special. But no, shout out to Billy. He's one of the nicest kids you could ever meet, and I was made up for him to win.
Definitely, shout out to you, Billy, and I'm sure with storylines like that you're going to have a film made out of you one day as well. Alex, you just touched on that. My final one, you just touched on a special story there as well about Billy. But have you got another kind of story, kind of someone that you've met during the community outreach that kind of has stuck with you for the longest time?
Yeah, I'll give you two actually. So there's one that I met in Dublin, a kid called Jackson. Jackson's 7 years old, and Eddie and Josh Roynton actually out that it's at Crumlin Boxing Club, which is the former home of Conor McGregor. And Jackson's 7 years old, and we did a plank challenge as we sometimes do to win tickets and everything. And Eddie and Josh decided to give Jackson a special award for bravery because he was just absolutely shattered by the end of this. By the end of the plank challenge, competing against everybody, going through the pain barrier in tears, and he just wouldn't give up. The kid just would not give up. So he's become a little bit of a kind of celebrity, I think, in Dublin since that. And the other one would be something that ties in with this event. So it was the second event that I did at Essex Green Boxing Club here in Birmingham. There's a young lad there called Ollie who must be about 2 or 3 months ago. He broke his leg in sparring, kind of like a freak accident. No one really knew what had happened. It turned out that the reason he broke his leg is he had a tumour. Since then, he's had to have his leg amputated. It's going to cost £70,000 to buy him a prosthetic leg, and he was 16, 17 years old, wanted to be a boxer, dream shattered. So far the club have raised £50,000 out of that 70, but we're going to be doing something around the 5k. The club are going to be there supporting. Ollie's going to be there to meet everyone at the finish line. I know Eddie's been reaching out to Ollie as well, as have I, to look at how we can support. So we meet these young people. For us it's another fight week, but for those people it's a really special time, and it's about us then remaining in contact with those people and supporting. So this week back in Birmingham, ACOT Screen were there yesterday at the workouts, and we'll be supporting Ollie through his journey from here on in.
No, definitely, and make sure you send me the link to the donation page. I'm going to chuck that straight in the description as well, so if anyone would like to donate, and we'll be doing all we can to promote that as well. Alex, what a great conversation that was, mate. I look forward to speaking to you throughout the fight week as it goes on, but Alex, thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much.